Ẹ mà ńlẹ́ níbẹ̀ yẹn ò nílé lóko. Ẹ sì kú dédé àsìkò yìí. Hello everyone, it's Adirunke again. I hope your day is going well. Today, I'd like to continue with my number series, and I'm now on the number 3. So I've been discussing the cardinal, ordinal, adjectival, adverbial, collective, distributive, and fractional aspects of each number. That's what I'm going to do. And also there are combinations. Some of these can be combined in certain contexts to describe certain things. So I'll get there after I'm done with these. The idea of 3 in the Yoruba language is eta, eta, eta. So that's just at the base level. That's what other things are built on. That's what the cardinal, ordinal, fractional, that's what they're built on. But the idea of 3 is eta, eta. 3, when you're counting, how you would say 3. Let's say you have a number of things on the table and you're going 1, 2, 3, 4. How you would say 3 in that context, in the cardinal context, cardinal being when counting, would be eta, 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 ọ̀kan, èjì, ẹ̀ta, ẹ̀rin, àrún. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. For 3, it's eta in the cardinal form when counting. In the ordinal form, ordinal being what you would use to indicate position. So ordinal answers the question of order. It answers questions regarding order, which is it the first? Is it the second? Is it the third? Is it the fourth? Is it the fifth? And so on. So if you're describing 3 in the positional form specifically, you want to say third for positional. Ìkẹta is what you would say if you're not saying it immediately after a noun. If it is not to be stated immediately after a noun, you would say ìkẹta, 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 third, ìkẹta, if it's not to be stated immediately after a noun. But if it is to be stated, and I'll show you an example soon, if it is, you would say kẹta, 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 ìkẹta, kẹta, kẹta. If it is to be stated immediately after a noun, let me make that make sense. Let's say somebody asks the question, ipò kélòó ni a wà? Ipò kélòó. Ìkélòó or èkélòó in a different dialect can be used to ask questions regarding order of appearance, or order in general. Ìkélòó, èkélòó. So it is from this ìkélòó that I got this kélòó that I put here. Ipò kélòó ni a wà? Ipò kélòó ni a wà? Ipò is position. Kélòó is like what? But you're using it to ask a question regarding order of appearance, or like order of position. Position, yes. Order of position. What position are we in? Ipò kélòó ni a wà? You could either say ìkẹta, ìkẹta, that's fine. That's sufficient. Let's say you are third, you're in a race, or something is in a race, or you are in a competition. Whatever the case, you are at the third position. You could simply say ìkẹta, and it would be sufficient enough. It would be a sufficient response. Ìkẹta. But if you want to use kẹta after a noun, ipò is a noun. Ipò is position, state. If you want to use it after a noun, you have to say kẹta instead, not ìkẹta. This can't come after a noun. This would have to. So you would say a wà ní ipò kẹta. Ipò kélòó ni a wà? A wà ní ipò kẹta. What position are we in? We are in awani, we are in the third position. Ipò kẹta. We are in the third position. Awani ipò kẹta. Awani ipò kẹta. We are in the third position. Awani ipò kẹta. We are in the third position. In the frequential context, which I forgot to add in the previous 2 videos, I completely forgot, and I had to be reminded when somebody asked me a question in my previous video. So, yikes. But this is the I will tell you the ones for 1 and 2 after I'm done with this. For frequency, for ordinal in the frequential form, you use it to indicate frequency. It answers questions regarding the time or round related order of appearance. So what does that mean? Is it the first time, or is it the first round? Or is it the second time or second round? Is it the third time or third round? Is it the fourth time or fourth round? Use it to answer questions or describe situations that relate to this context. Frequency, time or round related order of appearance. So you either, there are different dialects. You either say eketa, or eketa. I think this evolved to this. This became this because at some point the extra emphasis just became less audible. So this became a different dialect. So if you like, you can say eketa, you can say eketa, and you could say eleketa, eketa, eketa, eleketa. Anyone you choose would work. The one that people would use would depend on the question, although not necessarily. It doesn't have to. But many times, if somebody asks a question with ekelo, you say eketa. Ekelo, you say eketa. Elekelo, eleketa. It really depends. But sometimes somebody would say ekelo lele, and you could say eleketa. There's no specific rule book that says you cannot do it that way, but typically people will just go with the order of the question. Erin kelo, erin, rin is walk. How do I describe it? Erin kelo, what walk, what round? Let's say somebody walks by the first time and they walk by the second time, and or something goes by. Yes, okay, something goes by the first time, and then it goes by the second time, and then it goes by the third time, and then it being like walk, or I don't want to say go because that's in the English language that's different, but a walk, a go in quotes, what round, the first time, the second time, the third time, the first, what round or time is this? Erekelo is what ekelo is. Erekelo, ekelo. It's the combination of erekelo, ekelo. And oni erekelo, that's a different dialect. Oni erekelo. The oni here just emphasizes the erekelo. It's a different dialect. I can't give you a rational reason why this is necessary. But elekelo is what it would be when you combine these three. Elekelo. Oni erekelo would give you elekelo. What round? What time? If you say, this is the third time I'm eating, you're saying this is your third round. This is your third plate. This is your third round. Just in case you're wondering what the connection is between round and time. Not time in the what time is it context, but time as in the order, the frequency, frequential, with which you're doing something. The frequency, the round. If somebody asks, ekeloni, this is the what time. Say somebody got married and the visitors, the nosy visitors, the giddy visitors who are looking to gossip, or somebody asks among them, what time is this? What round is this? Ekeloni eyi. What round is this? Eyi, but I combined ni eyi to form niyi. So Sorry, perhaps I shouldn't have. But this is a combination of two words. Ni eyi. Ekelo ni eyi. Ekelo ni. This is the what time or what round. If you say eketa, that's sufficient. Eketa, this is the third time, or this is the third round. It's the third time it's getting married. It's the third round of marriage. It's fine. But if you want to say full sentence, specifically in the situation that I've described, you can say eketa to ma fe aya niyi, or eketa to ma gbeyawo niyi. Eketa to ma fe aya niyi. This is the third time his wedding. This is his third round of marriage. It's the third time he's getting married. It's his third round of a wedding, of a marriage. Eketa to ma fe aya niyi. Eketa to ma fe aya niyi. If they ask ekelo niyi, with the double emphasis, the language changes over time. With the previous one, the ekelo, you can clearly see that one came from ekelo. It's just people not wanting to put the extra emphasis anymore. Perhaps because when you're speaking fast, it doesn't sound too audible anyway, except you try to make it obvious. Ekelo ni, ekelo ni, ekelo. They can say eketa. Let's say in this context, somebody is in the party and they've had the first round, they've had the second round. It's obvious at this point that they only came to eat, and somebody wants to gossip about it or talk about it. Ekelo ni. What round is this? Eketa. Sorry, in this one, there's the emphasis. Eketa. Eketa. It's the third time. It's the third round. Eketa. But if you want to give a full sentence, you would say eketa to ma jẹun nìyí. Eketa to ma jẹun ní èyí. Eketa to ma jẹun nìyí. This is the third time she's eating. This is our third round of food. Eketa to ma jẹun nìyí. Ordinal, but in the frequential form. Frequency. What time? What round? Frequency. If somebody asks instead, and in this case, maybe a man has been eating for no reason, maybe he's irritated, but he doesn't know how to express why he's irritated, and so he's choosing to eat instead, and not eating like the snake, but like the way that we do it. See, I don't even do it anymore, so I don't know how to do it properly. I haven't hissed in a long time. See, it's so difficult for me. Something like that. Boucher, that's what we call it. Boucher. To hiss. To make that sound with our mouth. Boucher, hiss. Elekelo ni. This is the what time that is hissing, or this is the what round of hissing. Eleketa. This is the third time, or this is the third round. Eleketa would be a sufficient response. But if you want to make a full sentence, you would say eleketa to ma boucher niyi. Eleketa to ma boucher niyi. This is the third time he's hissing. This is the third round of hissing. This is the third time. This is the third round. Let's go to the adjectival. The adjectival is next. And the adjectival, you use it in the context of quantity. You use it to answer the question, how many, or give information regarding how many, quantity. An adjective is a word or phrase naming an attribute added to or grammatically related to a noun to modify or describe it. How many? So quantity for adjective. To answer the question how many, or you want to tell somebody how many something is, or how many of something there are that you can count, that you can see, that you know of. Meta, not to be confused with the Facebook meta. There's an old song that has now been recorded and duplicated. Meta loreo, meta. So meta, I think it's a song about 3 friends. I don't remember the full story, but to think Facebook for friends and meta. Sorry, my mind is making stupid connections. Meta. 3. How many are there? There are 3. Let's say you are in a market. And actually, you're not in the market yet. You are with your cousin and you want to buy clothes, and they are inquiring regarding the number of clothes that you want to buy. Your cousin that is younger than you or the same age as you, because of the O here, if we're just considering age is not the only factor that determines how honorifics are used. It could be position, it could be spiritual connection, it could be, there are different things, or how familiar you are with a person. I am older than a monarch, for instance. I still cannot say O. I have to use E because they are at a higher position. So age is a basic factor, but it's not the only factor that determines how honorifics are to be used. And I dedicated a video to it, listing all the factors that I know. So I'll link it for you so that you can check it out. Let's say your cousin asks, Aṣọ mélòó ni o fẹ́ rà? How many clothes do you want to buy? Aṣọ, clothes. Mélòó. Mélòó is typically how you would start a question that relates to quantity, that relates to how many. Mélòó. Mélòó. That's how you start. Mélòó, or you put the noun before. It really depends on how you want to frame the question. Aṣọ mélòó ni o fẹ́ rà? How many clothes is it that you want to buy? It's kind of how it is, but this is the translated version of the question, not necessarily the transliteration. How many clothes do you want to buy? You could just say 3 and it would be sufficient. You don't have to include a full sentence, especially with somebody that you're familiar with. It's not a questionnaire. They just need a quick response. How many clothes do you want to buy? Meta, 3. That's sufficient enough. But if you want to make a full sentence, you would say, Aṣọ mẹ́ta ni mo fẹ́ rà. Putting it this way, it's 3 clothes that I want to buy. It's kind of how you would transliterate it. So you could say, Mo fẹ́ rà aṣọ mẹ́ta, and scrap this. Mo fẹ́ rà aṣọ mẹ́ta. I want to buy 3 clothes. Mo, I, fẹ́, want to, rà, buy 3 clothes. The adjective will come after the noun. I want to buy 3 clothes. Mo fẹ́ rà aṣọ mẹ́ta. So maybe I should have put the sentence that way. Mo fẹ́ rà aṣọ mẹ́ta, and scrap this. This is more passive. The other way is active voice. Although it doesn't matter, we speak this way as well. I think that's why if you have a grammar correction app or something, you find that sometimes it would tell you, this is passive voice. Why not try active voice? We are comfortable with passive voice just as we are in active, and one isn't necessarily preferred over the other. I want to buy 3 clothes. Meta, 3. In the adverbial context, how many times is what you would be answering or giving information about. Not just how many now, it's now how many times. You're qualifying the adjective, verb or other adverb or a word group expressing a relation of place, time, circumstance, manner, degree, and so on. So your how many times, the degree, the manner, how many times for adverbial. So what it does, the adverbial, is it expresses a countable number of times and answers the question, how many times? Was it once? Was it twice? Was it thrice? Was it 4 times? Was it 5 times? For 3, to say thrice, I can't speak. Thrice, you say meta. Somebody asks the question, mélòó ni o lọ? Mélòó. And you typically start the question regarding how many times with mélòó. Mélòó. How many times? Mélòó ni o lọ? How many times did you go? Mélòó ni o lọ? How many times did you go? If it was thrice, you can just answer by just saying, this is the ìbéèrè. Ìbéèrè is question. Ìdáhùn is answer. Ìbéèrè, question. Ìdáhùn, answer. Mẹ́ta, thrice. That's okay. That's sufficient. How many times did you go? Thrice. It's enough of a response. But if you want to give a full sentence, you could say, mẹ́ta ni mo lọ. Mo lọ ní mẹ́ta. Mo lọ ní mẹ́ta. I went 3 times. I went thrice. Mélòó ni o lọ? How many times did you go to that event when it was still a thing? I went thrice. I went 3 times. Mo lọ ní ẹ̀ẹ̀mẹ́ta. I went thrice. I went 3 times. Collective is next. Collective. It signifies that several persons or things are taken definitely and unitedly together. That's what the collective does. It signifies that several persons or things are taken definitely and unitedly together. You're binding everything together. Only if it's just one, you say only this one. Both of them. All 3. Mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta. 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 Àwọn mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta. Mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta is the word. Mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta. All 3. All 3 of them went to the party. All 3 of them had a plate of food. All 3 of them slept soundly. In this context, somebody asks, ẹ̀yin mélòó ni ẹ wá? Let's say you are a group of 3 and they just want to know how many of the 3 came, and you want to say, oh, it was all 3 of us collectively and unitedly together. It was all 3 of us. You would say, àwa mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta ni a wá. Àwa mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta ni a wá. All 3 of us are the ones who came. All 3 of us came. Àwa mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta. The ni here is like the are the ones who, but it only works for the transliteration. For the translation, you want to actually translate to how, a person who speaks the other language would say it. So that's why I put the are the ones who in brackets. All 3 of us came. Àwa mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta ni a wá. Distributive is next. It answers questions regarding how many each or how many at a time. How many each or how many at one time, which would be each in a way too. How many each or how many at a time? Was it 1 each? Was it 2 each? Was it 3 each? Distribution. Eta is really what it is, but we say eteta more commonly. And this is how you say it if it's not coming immediately after a noun. Eteta. 3 each. 3 each. Eta 3. It's really what it, 3 each. 3 here, 3 here, 3 here, 3 each. Eta. If it is not to be stated immediately after a noun. So, but if it is, it's different. Meta, 3. If it is to be stated after a noun, 3 each. Distributive, 3 each. Meta. You want to say, give 3 children, 3 each. 3 sweets, or 3 apples, 3 bananas, 3 fruits. Fún ọmọ mẹ́ta. Let's say they are standing in a group of 4, they are standing collectively, or there are 2 people here, 10 people there, 100 people here. It doesn't matter. The instruction is, give 3 children, 3 each. This is what you would say if it's not coming after a noun. This is not a noun. This is like a preposition. Any 3 children. It doesn't matter if you picked all 3 from this group, or 3 from here, or 1 here, 2 here, 1 there. Doesn't matter. Just the instruction is, give 3 children 3 fruits each. Fún ọmọ mẹ́ta ní èso mẹ́ta. But that èso would now make this different. It would not be a teta anymore, because there would now be a noun before. So you would have to say meta instead. But give 3 children 3 fruits each. Give 3 children 3 each. 3 each of anything. Fún ọmọ mẹ́ta. Adjectival meta, right? Ní ẹ̀tẹ̀ta, 3 each. Give this one 3, give this one 3, give this one 3. If you want to say, give 3 children each, 3 each, then you would have to say, fún ọmọ mẹ́ta. Now you're saying, there's a group here, there's a group here, there's a group there, there's a group there. Give 3 children each, from each group, 3 each. Give 3 each, 3 each. 3 from here, 3 each. Fún ọmọ mẹ́ta mẹ́ta ní ẹ̀tẹ̀ẹ̀ta. So there's this group of 2, right? 4 here, 4 here. Give, sorry, now it's getting a bit tricky, isn't it? Give 3 children each, 3 each. Give this one 3, give this one 3, give this one 3. You're taking 3 out of each group and you're giving them 3 each. Fún ọmọ mẹ́ta mẹ́ta, 3 from each group. Now give them 3 each. Ní ẹ̀tẹ̀ẹ̀ta. So this was just to show you that if it's to come after a noun, ọmọ, child, is a noun. Mẹ́ta mẹ́ta. But if it's not, like here, ẹ̀tẹ̀ẹ̀ta. Give 3 children each, 3 each. It's distributive. 3 children from each group, give them 3 each. Fractional. This one answers questions regarding fractions. Ìlà mẹ́ta or ìlàta. But it's not very commonly said, I find. And that's because, the way that, let's say you want to buy palm oil in Nigeria, for instance, the way that they measure it is typically like a full bottle, igokan, or ìlàjì, half, or ìlàrin, a quarter, or like there are not many things that are sold that are divided into 3. So I guess it's not used, you don't hear it often, because if you go to the average Nigerian market, there are not many things that they sell that they divide into 3. For some reason, it's typically either a whole, or half, or a quarter, or 1/6. So I guess that's why you don't hear it often. But ìlà mẹ́ta, ìlàta, and ìlàjì, ìlàrin, they are often used for liquids, I find. So just, if you're going to, I don't know, there's no rule book anyway, but I find that it's off because nothing about it says liquid. It's really just use dependent. Ìlà mẹ́ta, ìlàta, 1/3, used for liquids more often. But in general, ìdá mẹ́ta, ìdáta is what you would hear. Ìdá mẹ́ta. Da is to divide. Dividing something into 3, ìdá mẹ́ta, or a division of something into 3, the 1/3 of something, ìdá mẹ́ta. But you know how we like to shrink words. So ìdáta is what you would hear. But this one you can use for liquids, for an apple. If it's possible to divide an apple into 3 equally. Somebody asks, ìdá mélòó ni ẹ gbà? It was 300 naira. And they want to know, what fraction of that 300 naira did you receive? You got 100. There were 3 of you, and you were given 300 naira. You were told to share it however you like. And you got 100 naira. You want to say that you got 1/3 of that. Ìdá mélòó ni ẹ gbà? What fraction, what division, what fraction did you receive? This is the honorific So you could say O in the non-honorific form. And I've done videos on pronouns, in the honorific and non-honorific forms. I've covered it. If you'd like to see it, I'll link it for you. Ìdá mélòó ni ẹ gbà? What fraction did you receive? Mo gbà ìdá mẹ́ta. Mo gbà ìdá mẹ́ta. I received 1/3. Mo gbà ìdá mẹ́ta. It was divided into 3 and I got 1 of that. Mo gbà ìdá mẹ́ta. So like I mentioned earlier on, combinations exist. Some of these are often combined to answer certain questions, and I'll show you. There's the adverbial distributive, and this one you use it to answer questions regarding how many times each. Was it once each? How many times? Was it once? But each? Was it once each? Twice each? Thrice each? And so on. Adverbial distributive. Adverbial, how many times? Distributive, each. How many times each? Was it once each, twice each? There's a center where performers will typically go, and somebody wants to know how many times each performer performs each week. Something like that. How many times each do they sing each week? Mélòó mélòó ni wọ́n kọrin ní ọ̀sọ̀ọ̀sẹ̀. Mélòó mélòó. Mélòó. You could say mélòó mélòó in a different dialect. Mélòó mélòó ni wọ́n kọ orin ní ọ̀sọ̀ọ̀sẹ̀? How many times each do they sing each week? Ọ̀sọ̀ọ̀sẹ̀ is ọ̀sẹ̀ each week. The way that I was describing meta earlier, ọ̀sẹ̀ each. That's how we like express each. Mélòó, how many times each ni wọ́n kọ orin ní ọ̀sọ̀ọ̀sẹ̀? Do they sing each week? So let's say Michael Jackson sings 3 times each week. Ìbejì sings 3 times each week. Billie Eilish and her brother will sing 3 times each week, and maybe Beyonce will sing 3 times each week. Apologies to the people I mentioned. I don't know if I should be using real people. Michael performs Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and Ibeji performs Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. Or maybe Michael sings 3 times in one day, and that's it. But whatever, he's singing 3 times each week. Meta, 3 times each. 3 times each week. 3 times each week. 3 times each week. They each sing 3 times each week. Meta is sufficient. If you want to make a full sentence, you could say meta ni wọ́n kọ orin ní ọ̀sọ̀ọ̀sẹ̀. You remove the question mark and you ditch the question starter. The how many times each. You ditch that. You just say meta ni wọ́n kọ orin ní ọ̀sọ̀ọ̀sẹ̀, and you put a full stop. That works. You would be saying thrice each. That's adverbial distributive. If it was just adverbial and they say, how many times did they sing each week? Mélòó ni wọ́n kọrin ní ọ̀sọ̀ọ̀sẹ̀. Now there's no which suggests that something happens or something is happening. So it will no longer be how many times do they. It will now be how many times did they. Mélòó ni wọ́n kọrin ní ọ̀sọ̀ọ̀sẹ̀. In the previous year, how many times did they sing each week? Thrice. So in that case, you would be saying, irrespective of who sang, they are a group of musicians, even if they are not actually a group, but they are musicians that delivered 3 songs each week. So it doesn't matter if it was Beyonce that sang all 3 times, or Michael sang once and Ibeji sang twice that particular week, or however they shared the duty among themselves. You just know that the guests of that place, of that center, had to have heard songs thrice each week. Mélòó ni wọ́n kọrin ní ọ̀sọ̀ọ̀sẹ̀. How many times did they sing each week? Thrice. 3 times. In the previous year, they sang 3 times each week. It doesn't matter who. But then if you now want to ask, like, okay, good, 3 songs were heard each week in this particular case, but let's say it was the case that each person had to sing 3 times each week. Meta, thrice each. Thrice each. You see, I'm not taking it easy on you. Let me just put it that way. I'm letting you see how it would be framed in different contexts. Not to overwhelm you or anything, just to expose you to how we would say it. You can then revise on your own time. We also have the fractional distributive. Fractional distributive. How many fractions each? Was it half each? Was it 1/3 each? Was it a quarter each? How many fractions each? Ìdá mẹ́ta is what you would say if it was 1/3 each. 1/3 each. Ìdá mẹ́ta. So ìdá mélòó ni wọ́n gbà lọ́wọ́ yín. Ìdá mélòó ni wọ́n gbà lọ́wọ́ yín. How many fractions each did they collect from you? Did the government collect from you? You're a group of employees. Somebody is asking you workers, what was the fraction of your earnings that was collected from you by whoever this is? It could be the government, it could be somebody. What fraction was it? They collected 1/3 from each of you. You would say ìdá mẹ́ta. Ìdá mẹ́ta. They collected 1/3 each from us. Ìdá mẹ́ta ni wọ́n gbà lọ́wọ́ wa, from us. I have a video on why am I suddenly getting disorientated? I need water. That's why. Ìdá mẹ́ta. I'm almost done. Ìdá mẹ́ta. 1/3 each. Ìdá mẹ́ta. 1/3 from each person. one third from each, but one third each was collected. If it was just a fractional, ìdá mélòó ni wọ́n gbà lọ́wọ́ yín? Ìdá mẹ́ta. Ìdá mẹ́ta. So let's say this is the shared salary, among all of you. But this person just comes and says, one third of that is mine, the rest is yours. Then they've taken one third. You just say ìdá mẹ́ta. They took one third of our earnings. They took one third of our earnings. They took this fraction in just the fractional. They took one third of all our earnings. But you want to speak on each person. Each person. Perhaps you don't all collect the same salary or you don't all have the same earnings, but irrespective of what your earnings are, somebody is collecting one third from you. Ìdá mẹ́ta, one third each. They collected one third each from us. I hope that makes sense. There's the fractional collective too, and I think this is the last one. This is the last one. Ìdá mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta is what it is. All of the fractions. They took all of the fractions from us. All 2/2, all 3/3, all 4/4, all 5/5, all 6/6, and so on. It was divided, but then somebody took all of it. It was divided already. Somebody took all of the fractions, and it was divided into 3 specifically. Ìdá mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta, all 3/3. Ìdá mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta, ìdá mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta, ìdá mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta. So somebody asks, ìdá mélòó ni wọ́n gbà lọ́wọ́ yín? Ìdá mélòó ni wọ́n gbà lọ́wọ́ yín? What fraction did they collect from you? Ìdá mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta. They took all 3/3. Ìdá mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta ni wọ́n gbà lọ́wọ́ wa. Ìdá mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta ni wọ́n gbà lọ́wọ́ wa. They took all 3/3 from us. Or maybe you divided your money into 3, hoping that you would give 1/3 to charity and 1/3 to your parents and 1/3 for yourself, but you found that you had to spend all 3/3 for yourself. Ìdá mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta ni mo ná. I divided it quite all right, or it was divided for me by some machinery, but I had to spend all 3. Ìdá mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta, ìdá mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta, all 3/3. Ìdá mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta. So that's it. But I'm going to give you like a summary of what I covered so far. So I did Cardinal, I did Ordinal. The Cardinal is counting. The Ordinal is position or order of appearance. Was it the first? Was it the second? The Frequential Ordinal is position plus time related. So was it the first time or was it the first round? Was it the second time / second round? Was it the third time / third round? Adjectival addresses quantity. How many? Adverbial, number of times. How many times? Collective, everything considered. Was it only you, or both of you, or all 3, or all 4? Definitely and unitedly together, collective. Distributive, how many each, or how many at a time? Was it 2 each, 3 each, 4 each? Fractional, what fraction? Was it was it half? 1/3, a quarter, and so on. I don't know why I wrote half and then half numerically. Adverbial distributive, how many times each? Was it twice each, 3 times each, 4 times each? Fractional distributive, how many fractions each? Fractional collective, all of the fractions. I was going to mention the frequential forms of 1 and 2. So kíní would be for 1, the frequential form. I should put it in the description. I have to remember to do that. Kíní, kejì, kẹta, kẹta, kíní, kejì, kẹta, ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kíní, ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kejì, ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kẹta, in a different dialect. 1, 2, 3. Kíní, kejì, kẹta, ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kíní, ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kejì, ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kẹta. So that's for the ones I missed. I wasn't doing this one at all. In the previous videos that I made, I didn't address them, but I've addressed them simply here. But I'll if I forget to put it in the description, please remind me. Summary. INAN is if not after noun. IAN is if after noun. So the original idea of the number is eta. Eta. Cardinal form eta. Ordinal if not after noun, iketa. If after noun, keta. Frequential eketa, eketa, eleketa. Can choose any of the three, mainly depending on how the question is asked. Adjectival meta. Adverbial meta. Collective meta-eta. Distributive if not after noun, eta-eta, eta-eta. If after noun, meta-meta. Fractional ida-meta or idata, ila-meta, ilata. Adverbial distributive meta-meta. Fractional distributive ida-meta-meta. Fractional collective ida-meta-eta, ida-meta-eta. So that's it. That's it. You can always pause and go back and, even if you don't know everything now, just take note of whatever you can, and you realize that it will start to make sense. It would not be sufficient for me to just go 1, 2, 3, except you're counting. Except somebody. It's very rare that, especially adults, maybe as children, you typically have to 1, 2, 3 because we're just getting used to the earthly, how things are done on earth. So sometimes count 1. You find children counting like that, 1, 2, especially when they're just learning. Point made. But if they are adults, it's very rare they will just say meta. It's very rare that they'll go okon, eji, eta. Well, they could when they're counting, but it's not very common that people would be counting things one by one like that, except you're in a market or something. Typically, they'll just go, meta, there are 3 of those. Meta, low one bet there. So I think it's more important to know these different forms and be familiar with them than to just concern yourself with knowing the cardinal, the counting, the okon, eji, because you won't use them as often as all these other ones. You won't often be counting things one, but people will be wondering, why can't you just say the whole thing? Why are you going one? Just so that you can express yourself better and sound more intelligent. Please pay attention, not just the cardinal. If you've learned the cardinal and you know how to count Yoruba, good, but just know all these other forms as well, so that you can express yourself better. So if you have any questions, please. I always say that, but many times I don't have either the time or the energy to respond to every question. So I probably should stop saying it, actually. But if you have you can ask. If I don't answer, somebody else. I don't know why I always think I have to be the one answering the questions. If somebody else can answer you, they will. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. And a big thank you to all my supporters, people who support me on Patreon and YouTube. I cannot thank you enough for the financial support. However, don't feel pressured if you like my videos and comment and encourage me, because it's not a niche that grows too fast, right? Like, the number of people that are looking to learn Yoruba is not as many, and it's educational, so it's not, I can't really entertain. Well, I try to, I don't try. I never try to entertain. So it's very hard to engage people to make me, like, it's not usual that people who are Yoruba would even want to watch my videos, because like many, except like the ones that are not common knowledge that I sometimes address, like, oh, this is not what this word is in and of itself and things like that. It's not very common that even Yoruba people want to engage with my content. So my circle is small, needless to say. So I appreciate everybody who watches and encourages me and tells me I should keep going. Trust me, every little thing that you do in each video really helps. I should probably not have done that in this video, maybe in a separate video, or maybe in a live video sometime, a chit chat video. I can maybe express myself and the journey so far. And yes, I'll see you in the next one. I don't know what the next video would be. It probably would be on numbers. But I'll see you in the next one, whatever it is that I choose to do. And enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.
Ológun mọ̀ ìwọlé ẹnì kan bẹ̀ sí mi ló mọ́ ni.